They told you to get good grades, to follow the rules, to color inside the lines. And then, maybe, just maybe, you'd be safe. Safe in a cubicle. Safe under someone else's roof. Safe earning just enough to pay for the life you don't have time to live. But here's the truth no one told you. Safety is the new slavery. Because every day you wake up and trade your hours for a paycheck, you are renting your life to someone else's dream. You're not free. You're leased. They trained you to be an employee. They conditioned you to obey. But inside you, buried under the weight of compliance, is the investor, the owner, the architect of empires. You weren't born to punch in. You were born to cash in. Not from labor, but from leverage. That's the difference. Employees trade time for money. Investors trade money for time. And time is the one currency they can't print, can't borrow, and can't steal. It's yours, and when you waste it building someone else's ladder, don't be surprised when they tell you you're not allowed to climb it. Let's talk mindset, because the investor and the employee live in the same world, but they don't see the same world. The employee asks, "Can I afford this?" The investor asks, "How can I make this pay me?" An employee sees risk. An investor sees opportunity. An employee fears loss. An investor knows loss is the tuition for greatness. You've been taught to seek comfort, but comfort is a trap. The wealthiest minds in history, Carnegie, Rockefeller, Jobs, Kiyosaki, they weren't chasing comfort. They were building systems. They were buying freedom. And freedom isn't a dream. It's a discipline. It's a lens you put on every day when you choose to own, not rent. When you stop asking, "What do I earn per hour?" and start asking, "What earns for me while I sleep?" Belief. That's the first investment. Before you buy a single stock, a property, or a business, you invest in you. Because no portfolio pays like self-belief compounded over years of relentless action. And belief isn't hype. It's not a vision board and a quote. It's grit. It's conviction. It's Edison burning through 1,000 failures to light the world. It's Disney going bankrupt, mocked and broke, yet still seeing magic. It's Ford building a car when horses ruled the streets. They were told it couldn't be done. But belief isn't something you carry. It's something that carries you through ridicule, rejection, and the crushing weight of doubt. Because here's the paradox. No one will believe in you until you no longer need them to. Clarity comes next. Most people don't fail because they're weak. They fail because they're distracted, busy, loud, consumed. They're chasing everything and catching nothing. An investor moves with precision, not because they know the future, but because they know what they want from it. They don't need to time the market. They become the market. They pick one vehicle and master it. Real estate, stocks, content, IP. They don't dabble. They own. They're not swayed by trends. They are calm in chaos because clarity cuts through noise like a blade. You want wealth? Then define it exactly. Not someday, not a lot. What number? What return? What timeline? You can't hit a target you won't name. Then comes vision. Vision is the mental blueprint before the foundation is ever poured. It's the skyscraper you see in your mind when everyone else just sees a pile of steel. The employee waits to see it before they believe it. The investor believes it until it must be seen. Vision is what lifts your eyes from bills and bosses to ownership and legacy. It's what lets you walk into a rundown duplex and see cash flow. It's what makes you pick up a book instead of a remote. It's what keeps you up at 2 a.m. building systems instead of sleeping for another man's dream. And vision has enemies: doubt, comfort, distraction. But it has a weapon too. And that weapon is purpose. Purpose is your fuel. It's what makes the pain make sense. The early mornings, the lonely grinds, the rejections and losses. Purpose turns the ordinary into sacred. It turns a spreadsheet into a sword. You think Carnegie just wanted money? He wanted to transform a nation. Kiyosaki didn't write books to be famous. He wrote them because the rat race is a prison and someone had to break the lock. What's your purpose? If it's only for you, it won't last. Purpose must be bigger. A family, a movement, a mark on the world that says, I was here. I didn't just survive, I changed the game. Now comes the hard part, discipline. The sexy part is the idea, the Instagram version, the quote, the car, the one day. But investors don't worship ideas. They execute them, daily, relentlessly. Discipline is saying no to the urgent so you can say yes to the important. It's buying assets before pleasure. It's studying while others scroll. It's building when no one's clapping. Discipline is lonely, but so is regret, and you don't get both. So choose your pain, the pain of discipline or the pain of being average. When others are looking for weekends, you're looking for opportunities. When they buy the newest phone, you buy shares in the company that made it. That's discipline. That's ownership. That's the shift. And with discipline comes action. Because knowledge without motion is paralysis dressed as potential. You can read every book, take every course, watch every video, but if you don't move, nothing changes. Action is what separates the dreamers from the builders. It's the bridge between clarity and cash flow. It's how you go from someday to today. An employee waits for instructions, waits for permission, waits for the right time. But the investor acts. Not recklessly, not emotionally, but decisively. Because the world doesn't reward intention, it rewards execution. Every business empire began with a single offer. Every rental portfolio began with one signed deed. Every seven-figure investor was once a rookie who made their first move. Stop asking, what if I fail? Start asking, what if I don't try? Because inaction is the costliest investment you'll ever make. You can recover money, but you can't recover the years spent sitting on the sidelines, watching other people live the life you were meant to own. But action without gratitude becomes poison. Gratitude doesn't mean settling, it means anchoring. It means remembering who you are, what you've overcome, and how far you've already come. Because when you forget to appreciate the climb, you'll lose the fire to keep ascending. Gratitude is the oxygen for long-term success. It's what keeps ambition from turning into greed. It's what lets you stay grounded while building something that towers. Carnegie gave away 90% of his fortune, not because he had to, but because he understood that real wealth isn't what you accumulate, it's what you contribute. Be grateful, not just for what you have, but for the chance to build, the chance to try, the chance to own. Because every morning you wake up with breath in your lungs and a mind to think. You have everything you need to change your life. You're not too late, you're right on time. But gratitude doesn't mean stagnation. You have to adapt. The rules are changing, fast. AI is writing, robots are building, the 9-to-5 is dying, but no one sent you the memo. The safe job, it's being automated. The pension, it's being devoured by inflation. The degree, it's no longer the golden ticket, it's the starting line. And if you don't evolve, you expire. Adaptability isn't a bonus skill anymore, it's survival. Investors don't fear change, they capitalize on it. They study trends like predators study prey. They don't complain about disruption, they build inside it. The ones who thrived during every market crash weren't the ones who panicked. They were the ones who pivoted. While employees beg for security, investors build agility. You want to last? Then learn to bend, not break. Be water, be fire. Be unshakable in purpose and flexible in strategy. Because the world won't slow down to accommodate your comfort. You either rise or you disappear. That's where resilience comes in. Because this isn't easy. It's not supposed to be. If it were, everyone would be free. Everyone would be wealthy. Everyone would be sovereign. But most aren't. Why? Because they quit too early. They hit resistance and they folded. But resistance is not rejection. It's a requirement. It's the fire that forges ownership. It's the pressure that builds equity in your soul. The greatest investors in the world aren't the smartest. They're the ones who stayed in the game when it got bloody. They bled and kept buying. They lost and kept learning. Resilience is bouncing back one more time than you break. It's falling in love with the long game. It's trusting that every setback, every delay, is sharpening your strategy, humbling your ego, and preparing your spirit for scale. The world will try to knock the investor out of you. It will tempt you with comfort, distract you with trends, bait you with approval. But remember this, Approval doesn't build empires. Resilience does. And resilience is fed by learning. Because the greatest return on investment, before stocks, before real estate, before business, is wisdom. But wisdom doesn't come from age. It comes from hunger. The hunger to understand, not just consume. To study, not just scroll. To practice, not just preach. Read the biographies. Study the charts. Take the losses. Watch the masters. Not to copy them, but to calibrate your own mind to the level where money chases you, not the other way around. That's what Robert Kiyosaki taught us. Don't work for money, make money work for you. But that's not a quote, it's a process, a daily practice, a mindset that must be trained, like a muscle. Because if you don't train your mind, the system will train it for you. And the system doesn't want investors, it wants obedience. So train like your life depends on it, because it does. And once your mind is trained, once your thoughts no longer betray you, once your fears report to your purpose, that's when the shift happens. That's when you stop asking for opportunities and start creating them. That's when you stop begging for security and start manufacturing freedom. That's when you finally understand. You were never meant to trade your time for someone else's dream. You were meant to build your own. You don't need more degrees, you need more decisions. You don't need more approval, you need more conviction. Every paycheck you've ever received was proof that your time is valuable. Now imagine what happens when you own the asset instead of renting your hours. When you stop clocking in and start scaling out. Because here's the truth they never told you in school. The system was never built to set you free. It was built to keep the engine running, to feed the machine, to reward compliance, not creativity. They taught you how to be useful, but they never taught you how to be sovereign. They said get a job, but they never said build equity. They said save money, but they never said own assets. They said be grateful you have work, but they never said create work for others. The investor doesn't accept the frame, they redesign it. They don't ask for a piece of the pie, they bake their own bakery. And once you taste that kind of ownership, you can't go back. You won't go back. Because freedom has a flavor that security can never imitate. And no, this isn't easy. Not everyone will understand. People will call you reckless. They'll say you're chasing illusions. They'll say you should settle down, play it safe, stay in line. But understand this, the line leads to mediocrity. The line leads to regret. Because the people who told you to be realistic, they were just projecting their own limitations onto you. And if you accept their fear, you inherit their life, but not you. You're here because something inside of you is still awake, still burning, still whispering, there's more than this. And you're right, there is more. More life, more freedom, more ownership. But it doesn't come from the time clock. It doesn't come from HR. It doesn't come from promotions, titles, or applause. It comes from the moment you say, I will no longer be a commodity. I will no longer rent my mind, my body, my energy to someone else's balance sheet. It comes from the moment you decide, I am the investor now. I invest in my mind, I invest in my time, I invest in my skills, my freedom, my future. And the return isn't just money. It's power, it's peace, it's purpose. So don't wait for a sign, be the sign. Don't wait for permission, be the permission. Don't wait for the economy to improve. Become the economy. This is your life, your legacy, your empire. But no one's going to build it for you. And the longer you delay ownership, the longer you delay destiny. So be bold, be strategic, be relentless, be grateful, be dangerous. To the system that said you couldn't. Be the fire they can't put out. Be the mind that never quits. Be the investor, not the employee, because the clock is ticking and your freedom doesn't wait.